good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome. Welcome to the Infinite Way podcast where spirituality meets humanity. My name is Dr. Enolia, and I am here to greet Paul Quinton in part two. And if you don't remember that Paul grew up in a spiritual family and has been involved in esoteric all his life, allowing him to fulfill the soul's contract as a healer, a teacher, a channel, and a writer. He has patented new modality insured in 35 countries and releasing his channeled books through Spirit's voice to assist humanity in shifting into the new Earth's golden age as the renaissance of consciousness establishes itself. He assists souls to assist themselves, transforming human conditioning. So, being trained in numerous healing modalities, his assist brings him to alignment modality. It's copyrighted by him and specifically created by him. And his greatest teacher has been Spirit. So I want to welcome Paul Quinton. Welcome back. Part two. Welcome.
Thank you,
Paul.
Nola. It's great to be back on. Wonderful. Love part two. Yes.
I love it. I love it. It's so wonderful to have you back. And there were things that we wanted to ask, or I wanted to ask, listen to me, I wanted to ask you that we didn't have the time to be able to dig into. I love the fact that you do the alignment modality. And I had the great fortune of experiencing it, which is phenomenal. So I'm saying to my audience, this is a great healer. He's right there. It's wonderful, wonderful. And I know that we talked last time that you come with a plethora of gifts, like that you could have went here, you could have went there, you could have gone and done a couple of different modalities, but you honed in creating your own. So what were your gifts before that you had to refocus in to create this modality called the alignment modality?
Yeah, well, it was really Spirit when they started to get me to channel and directly started channeling writing, hence where the first book is coming from, but also teaching. And they basically said, look, we want you to, it's basically come from them, really. They said, look, just strip back everything you've learned, because he said, when you get to the point of you realize that you don't know anything, then when you'll remember everything. And it's almost like you don't have to keep. I think what they were really trying to do is get me out of that or human projection of I need to get more from the outside instead of surrendering to what's already within. And of course, as they said, I've been a scribe and a mystic for them in many lifetimes. This is nothing new. We just, for you as well, it's not your first show. You know what I'm saying, right? So yeah. It's really about just bringing that frequency through. But they said, look, there's a couple of things they said that really simplify everything and strip it all back. They said human beings don't need another full set of rules and procedures now because they're exhausted, and we are exhausted. We're exhausted at the soul level because the soul has been trying to get humans off this planet for so long, but we keep getting caught in misinformation. Then we stay karmically connected to people, and we keep triggering other incidents with people. And if you keep doing that and it's unresolved when you pass, you have to reincarnate, even if it was just for one person. I mean, this is the nature of the universe as they've described it to me. So they said, look, there's a 4-part modality. Now, the last time they tried to bring this energy onto the planet was in the Renaissance period. And we all know what happened there. So you had all this music coming out, you've got this art coming out, but the church was still prolific. It was, it was very, very strong. So it all sort of got shut down. And it all sort of died after that. So really, this is another cycle. This is the cycle now. So the Renaissance to the last, it's come full circle. So this is their time to really start to inject this. And they said, look, there's a lot of people. When they said this, I said, I don't think many people on the planet will do this because people are just so misinformed. But what they did say is that when people open up too quickly, they go mad, they go crazy, they could lose themselves, because the old saying is this: if you saw the divine feminine, divine masculine right in front of you, you'd probably just disintegrate because it would be just too powerful, too amazing, because our 3D bodies the vibration's too low to receive that frequency in that moment. So it's just a saying, but they said, like, you know, if you open up too fast without doing the inner work, or you do the psychic work too quickly without the mental and emotional body clear, this is when you can go into depression, you can freak out. And the main problem is the attraction of astral entities and interdimensional beings that would use you for themselves, as in energy suckers, whatever you want to call it. Because I was going to start bringing people out astral projection in my modality. They said don't do that, because they said people are just they're too ingrained in the old frequency. So if they came out of their body, they would see everything. Yes, it would freak them out, but then it would be attachment, and they said it would just go very wrong. And so they gave a 4-part modality, which is generally we have between 3 and 5 months between each module, because it's integration and it's also transformation during that period. So we work in a way where everything's structured. So we work on the conscious mind first, we get the activations, we get the cells ready, we get the emotional body starting to come into alignment, we clear out the auric field. There's a lot of other things we do. That's just it in a sort of nutshell. Then we go into shadow energy. So shadow energy is all the denied, repressed trauma. Then you can look at, and also control mechanisms that have been placed around us for thousands of years that have allowed us to stay in illusion under the guise of separation. Okay, so this is all gifted to us from the non-seen. So, but we have to start clearing that. We do a lot of work with the brain as well, because the brain is actually the activation point to take us into stellar awareness, to bring that consciously back into the body. So we work with imprints, you know, vaccine imprints. We work with religious programming that is indoctrinated, that's holding you back. We work with heavy metals, you know, parasites, bacteria. The brain, like I said, the reptilian brain, there's a low-grade frequency around the brain that stops you from, causes the ego to question everything. So that's why we're always in a divide, you see. And you capitulate unconsciously. We give our power away all the time. And so this is all to do with the brain mechanisms. So we work a lot with that as well. Then 3, we start to do more activations. We do more teachings. We start to bring spirit live. I mean, spirit are always there because it's their modality in some ways. I'm just sort of guiding it. But they sort of start to come in more consciously with the students. And then we introduce that they can make their own marriage and union with the spiritual frequencies that come in. And then we start to get them to talk to the ancestors. We're a lot with the ancestors and the clearing. And then 4 is really, they told me not to write 4 down, because 4 really, I've seen people transform in 4. Like everything just changes overnight. They leave their mainstream job, they're opening up healing retreats, they're doing different things, they're moving countries. And it's the soul, because when the soul is ready to come in, it will take over your life and it will just change everything. That is in accordance with your highest principles, which is, of course, gives you an abundant life holistically. So you just have to surrender to that. But they said 4 is your unique marriage and union with the divine. Mm-hmm. So whatever you know, obviously they talk about, and this is a sort of subject that we talk about God being something. The main thing they said is if you worship something outside of yourself that you feel that that needs to save you, you will always stay disempowered, because we are God, and that's what they teach. And they also teach it's not about ascension. We're already multidimensional. What it is, people aren't being human. They're not honoring the human. They're not honoring the process of being human. This is the problem with the new age. They're running out. They're doing all this. They're trying to do all this psychic work, but their emotional, mental bodies are not caught up, and then it all goes flat, and then they freak out. And then so they're saying that you need to be human. You need to bring polarization into alignment. You need to bring the male and female, and they want you to walk as a human being. You don't need to be doing all this vegan stuff and, you know, doing everything that's projected. You can do that. Absolutely. It's choice. But from the higher perspective right now, all they want human beings to do is acknowledge what they have denied in themselves. Because through denial, and once you acknowledge the denial, it creates oscillation. That gets energy moving. The universe works in oscillation. So it's a micro, macro level. So this same frequency moves into your cells. And once oscillation's moving in the cell, it creates a magnet to draw in divine code. So then you awaken to the next level. Now, the next level, what we're going through, we all know we're going through a transition here. The earth is shifting. We are moving. We are moving into a high state of consciousness. So in order for us to do that, we have to have a clear emotional and mental body. Otherwise, if it comes down to the atom, I might have said this in our last talk, forgive me if I did, but it comes down to the atom, because physically, if the atom is spinning faster and your atom is still dense, it can't move into that new place. It's like water and oil. It doesn't work. So what happens? You have to leave. And this is why people are leaving the planet, because the soul cannot wake that human self up. And that's okay. And they've said they will go and live out that 3D experience on another planet. There's a lot of things that are going on at the moment. They also said consciousness is not perfect. So
Yeah.
we have this idea that they're brilliant, they know everything, everything's perfect. They said, no, it's not. We don't know half the time what's about to happen, because there's only the present moment. And this is another thing, we're caught up in this linear timeline. So they really bring us back into vertical living, which is just living in the moment. And you can only receive in the moment. Your soul can only receive, give you what it needs in the moment. Okay, so we are, as they said, you know, we are bringing time into us. We're not, time's not passing by. It is, it's coming within us. So we are absorbing time. So that is the plethora of this whole universal consciousness. So it's that sort of macro in and out breath. And they're really trying to bring us back into that state of just being still. And so this modality really is a way to, and generally it will take about 18 months. But if the person's intention is there and they're really ready to let go, amazing things will happen. And that's the beauty of it, because it's your highest will, and we are all unique, powerful beings. And this is what people don't understand. They think they have to go out, learn it, earn it, grow it. No, you need to surrender to it. And that's the beauty. It's, and so we bring in universal laws. We don't talk about all the hippie new age stuff anymore and healing. We change the words. A lot of the words are redundant. What we do is we say, well, this is universal law. We base it on three amazing scientists that were very, very connected to the non-physical. You've got Dr. Emoto, you've got Bruce Lipton, and you've got Einstein. That's the only three that I work with. And those three, their teachings summarize everything. They bring everything holistically into alignment. So anyone that's sort of like, oh, I don't know if that really works, I'll say, well, you know, we got the facts here. So and so it's really about getting people because there's a people are on the fence, and this is the problem, especially with men. Men will question, judge everything. Women are more open because they're more feeling beings, so they'll naturally take this on. Now that's not a stereotype, but it's just a general rule of thumb, really. So for men, it's getting them out of their heads. So if you can teach that imagination is a science, then they have to accept it, because their minds are programmed to just science-based information, generally, right? So
Right.
if you don't see it, if it's not proven, it's not real. Fair enough. Okay, fine. So it's really about sort of fine-tuning that. And once they have an energetic experience, see, I do a lot of psychic development on my workshops, all 4 modules. I get them tuning into each other. I get them to, we've channeled a whole new set of symbols. The symbols are very powerful. We give them flower and planet essences to trigger aspects of their consciousness. So what they've been denying for lifetimes can be brought up very, very quickly, because the planets are very, very powerful. So we work with planet essences as well. So there's a lot of things that they go, oh, hang on, I'm feeling this. Oh my, you know, and and it's sort of, the mind is being sort of deconstructed, shall we say?
Yes.
And the best thing is the amazing thing is that, and this is the hard thing for some people, is when we do this work, and a lot of the times people will say, I don't have my power anymore. I don't have my drive anymore. And they think it's bad. And I say, okay, so what is this power and drive we talked? Well, it's my mind. You know, I could do this with my mind. And I said, yes. And how many times has your mind taken you down the wrong path? How much dysfunction has your mind cost you? And I said, what is that energy? It's fire, masculine energy. I said, what are we in now? We're in a feminine water cycle. So surrender and more power will come. So when they're stripping back, they've lost their ego. They've lost that identity to their ego. And people can feel very vulnerable and very naked in that space. But then they start to feel something come from within. And that's a beautiful transition. So it's very interesting. And that's what Spirit were very careful about, is people are so hardwired into certain narratives that I've seen people have psychic experiences and then a week later denied they had it because their belief systems are so strong.
They're so strong.
This is the problem, right? It's getting
Yeah.
people. So we have to do it very subtle. And consciousness is very, very subtle because it has to, because we're so heavy here, so conditioned. So it has to weave its way through very subtle. So it's very interesting. It's yeah. So that's
I
sort
love what you said,
of
and you said such a plethora of things. It's so huge what you said, and just to take a few things apart because there's no way we'd be able to delve into everything. But I love what you said in terms of the fact that we're here in our humanness, and what we need to do is stop looking for the outside things to inspire us and show us our gifts, but to really surrender to inside. And there's this meditation I love doing where I actually get people to strip away all of the humanness so that they can see what it actually is inside that they are, because inside we are love, we are light, we are truth, right? Our own truth, our own
yeah,
love, our own light,
absolutely. Yeah.
right? But that is the universe.
Yes.
That is the expansive universe. That's the beginning, is acknowledging
Yeah.
that if I stripped away all of the roles that I was taught, all of the things that I was told to do, all of the roles that I assume in creating what this makeup of is me. And when
Yeah.
I mean that, it's like if I'm nobody's mother, if I'm nobody's daughter, if I'm nobody's employer, employee, writer, this, that, the other, all of the human things that call on us to produce, to
Mm.
act on, and
Yeah.
everything else. And I was able to take all of that away and then see the energy being that I am inside, housed inside of this physical container.
Yeah.
Then I finally allow my mental body to be able to say, there's something more expansive than the finite activities external to my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then bringing it in deep to see
Yeah.
that there are no boundaries when I'm looking inside the universe. It's as simple as looking up at the night sky and saying there are no boundaries, but we create boundaries. And I
Yes.
think this is really, really important for people to understand as you're talking about it. We create boundaries because we're more comfortable with boundaries. Because, like you said, if it's so expansive and you can go anywhere in the universe, you go crazy because you're just like, it doesn't end. It
Yeah.
doesn't end. I can just go anywhere. There's no finite part of what I need to do. So we create stuff like time.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
create stuff like, here's where I'm comfortable with, and here's where I have fear. So I can't go beyond this boundary because I don't want to experience fear. That brings our world in small, 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 small. And then
Yeah.
along with the belief systems that are projected onto us, because they are projected onto us, they come in from our parents' belief systems and our cultures, right? So those are projected onto us that make our world a little bit more smaller. And then here's where I'm allowed to grow and where I'm not allowed to grow. Here's where I'm capable of growing. Here's where I've been told I can't grow. Here's what I'm capable of doing. And here's what I've been told I'm not able to do. And here's
Yeah.
why I'm not fitting into the conformity of things. And when I'm not fitting into the conformity of things, I'm going against the grain. And I'm going against the grain, people think I'm crazy,
Yeah.
or I'm not fit, or I have a mental problem because I'm not going within the conformity of what's accepted,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
there's all these rules. And I love the fact that you're telling me that the modality helps you strip away some of these rules to be able to act and get to that root core system of the universe that's within us.
Yeah.
And those who might be saying, oh, what's the universe within us? If you ever truly meditated and achieved what you're looking in meditation, you understand that there's a universe within us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that there are many roads that lead to that universe. It doesn't matter if you come in it from direction X or Y or Z, that we're getting to that universe, and that we can expand, and we are powerful, energetic beings within that universe.
Yeah.
And that we can act on these things, and we can call it a modality or not,
Yeah. Yeah.
doesn't really matter,
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I
Absolutely.
explaining that?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%. Yeah, yeah. And like I say, sometimes when you've got psychic awareness, you can see the galaxy in people's torso. My girlfriend had a psychic ability episode once, and my whole head, and she saw all of the dinosaurs moving around the earth. She said, I could see dinosaurs walking over your head. She said, and it's amazing. I channeled the atom. I was channeling the atom for my book. And they said, but I can't remember. I need to read it again because it's a while ago. So I've got so much information. I can't remember. Do you know, I read my own stuff to learn.
You do, because when you channel it, you don't acknowledge the fact that, wow, I've done that. I've read my own book and said, that came through me.
Yeah,
Holy
exactly.
cow, when did I write that? How did I write it that well? Oh my gosh. Yes,
It's
yes.
amazing, isn't it?
Go
You
ahead,
think,
go
oh,
ahead.
yeah. I love when you can read your own stuff to learn. It's fantastic.
Learn, exactly.
Because we're always reading other people's stuff, aren't we? So it's good. Yeah. So basically, and so basically, he said like one atom will protect one universe from colliding with another. Now, and it was also like they said that if you go through the atom and look through it, and it's almost like this being in the Matrix. They said you will see everything, but it won't be a thought. Your omnipresence opens up and you see everything at once. And it's sort of like, but you see algorithms, you'll see how planets are created, you'll see how the solar system moves, basically everything. And you can see that through the atom. You just move through it consciously. It's like a portal. And it was amazing, like what they were talking about. And it comes down to the fact that everything is so micro. Like if you were living in a sort of 7th, 8th density awareness, you'd be able to look into a human cell and see the entire universe. So, we have this thing about small and large, forget about it. It's like some of the most micro things
Things have the most
doorways.
grandest.
So
and
again, but that comes to your boundaries, right? We have these boundaries. Oh, it's so small. How can that do, And again, it's the conditioning, right? The misinformation belief systems. Yeah, yeah.
it's a
Yeah, it's crazy.
condition. And when we talk about being multidimensional beings, that I've been doing a lot of reading about ancient texts and whatnot, and it's described so many different ways. Like we talk about the universe, right? And we're always looking outside of ourselves. But I like to call it the innerverse,
Universe. Oh, the
because
universe. That's good. Yeah, I like that. Oh, I like
yeah,
that one.
instead of
Good.
the universe, the
Innoverse.
innerverse, because there are so many ways that we could look at the multidimensional beings that we are and participate within those multidimensional beings. Are dreams really dreams? Or are dreams us traversing the different dimensions of who we are in different lifetimes all the time? And then we bring it back and we go, oh, I dreamt about this, but really you were in a different dimension of your being, and
Yeah,
then allowing yourself to come back with that information in this universe to either learn from it, glean from it, or interpret it so
yeah.
that you can live a better life. We traverse so many things, and what happens is that we are able to do it. And like you said, if the door is blown open too soon or too quickly,
You freak
we
out.
we freak out, we go into fear and everything. But yet, people love using recreational drugs that do that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And I don't understand the contrary to it, all right?
Because
Tobacco,
when you use recreational drugs, you don't have the fear boundary. The fear
yes.
dissipates. So it's
Well,
when
sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
yeah, no, true. Yes, that's a big
Yeah.
conversation. But yes,
Sometimes
but
it does,
generally,
sometimes it doesn't. Because like tobacco was used to blow the doors wide open, because that's why natives went on vision quests,
yeah,
right? But then, certain people got a hold of tobacco and started using it in cigarettes and wanted to be there all the time. So they've adjusted to that door being open that way. But if you're
yeah,
not a tobacco smoker, one little puff opens the door. You get to have this beautiful vision, or the vision quest of what you actually want to seek, or
see,
an
yeah,
answer that you're searching for. And then the same thing with marijuana. The same thing, it blows the door wide open. And
yeah,
but all of this to say is that we can still do this naturally. And
yes,
if we do it naturally, we do it at the pace by which the mental body, the physical body, the
yeah,
spiritual body can all train at the same time, so that when the door opens, you're prepared for what comes in. And
yeah,
that's what happens when people attract entities and things like that,
yeah,
because the door is blown open too fast. then they freak out and they're in fear, and the vibration of fear is what's attracting that which is out there in the first place, and then it's stuck with them, and
Yeah.
then they have an attachment, or they have these issues, or they're
Yeah.
half out of their mind because they went opening the door too quickly and they're in their fear.
Yeah. 100%. And that's exactly it. Yeah. You just said it exactly what Spirit pretty much said. Yeah. You've got to open it up slowly. You have to. You
You
have to.
have to,
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
train.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when we acknowledge these gifts, when we have these gifts, like what you do, we can then with our will, our free will, choose how we choose to exercise it, you know. And I
Yeah.
say exercise it because so many of us choose to suppress it,
Yeah.
and then
True.
we're afraid to talk about it, and we don't want to have these conversations like
Yeah.
you and I are having right now. And
Yeah.
it's so funny because the people who are more open about it, like I just finished watching like a little excerpt of Terrence Howard and how he's coming to fruition of how he gleaned the like you said, the flow of the mathematics, of the physics, of the knowledge and the wisdom that needed to come to him in order to create that which he's created, to take it to that leap of orbit and the next octave up, because
Yeah.
he brought all of that together. And I think that acting helped him come to that precipice,
Yeah.
because he was always going inward in order to find that that character that he needed to play. And
Yeah.
so you get used to going inward, 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 and you're not looking for a character, but you're looking for knowledge, you're looking for wisdom, you're looking for whatever else you're looking for. You can attract that. You can attract the wisdom, the education, the knowledge
Yeah.
of what you
Yeah.
want to produce. You
Yeah.
know, I have the saying, if you hold a vision for yourself, then life becomes a walk to that vision. Well, holding that vision is basically saying, okay, if I want to be a scientist and I want the knowledge of a rocket scientist, and whenever I meditate, I'm saying, okay, I want the knowledge base and the wisdom of a rocket scientist. I want to attract that which would give me that capability, give me that wisdom, that knowledge, along with the reading and everything. I'm creating the mythic map of what I want to be and how I want to project that energy.
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's a very good way of putting it, actually. Yeah, and that's a beautiful. We got our unique way of saying things. It's yeah, yeah, no, definitely, definitely. And what was great as well, what you said about doing it properly without the drags and the stuff. We're very, like we were talking before, like fast paced. And I'm very much like that, because obviously when you work with spirit, that vibration, it's like intense. So you put that out all the time. But the one thing is, I will do it the right way. It has to be slow. It has to be methodical. You have to do it the right way, which goes against actually our own energy, because it's like
Yeah.
extreme here, but really you got to do it. And this is the problem with the New Age movement again now. And they said the New Age movement is on its knees. There's too much misinformation. And the problem is this ayahuasca now. People are doing ayahuasca. They're having a vision and they think they're healed. They don't realize that the vision is showing them what they need to heal in themselves. Then you go and do the work, but they're not doing the work.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly
No, they're
getting
not.
people come up to me, I've done ayahuasca, I'm healed. And I'm looking at you, I'm saying, no, you're not. And it's really hard because and you don't want to break that bubble a little bit. But again, it's information. People are trying to evolve too quickly. And in the
It's so
90s,
important what
yeah,
you're saying. I'm going to interrupt you because I
please.
work with Ayahuasca, and I asked them this profound question, right? How often should a person be doing ayahuasca? And I think this is really important. And
Please.
as an ayahuasca who gives the ceremony, who grew up in Peru, and who did the teachings, I stayed with him for 4 days. He did the teachings without ayahuasca so I could understand the stories of
Yeah,
how they came to be.
yeah.
And he said, once every 25 years, or when you have a question.
Wow.
Now, this coming from an ayahuasca, and these people are running around and doing this stuff every month,
Yeah,
every week. I
yeah,
mean, they're abusing the plant just like
yeah,
they abuse tobacco
yeah,
and other situations. We
yeah.
should not be doing ayahuasca every week.
No,
That's not what it was there for. That's not the purpose of the plant. And
yeah,
you're defeating the whole purpose of why it's there.
yeah, yeah.
That's my opinion. No one has to agree with it, but I got that straight from the ayahuasca in Peru that I studied with.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because it's the intention that you put into it. If you put the intention to see the most denied repressed trauma, and you will see it because you put the intention. Intention is the manifestation of all outcomes. Then if you write that down and remember it, you wouldn't need to go and do it again, like you said,
Exactly.
because you've got everything right there. And
Got everything.
if you take the bottom card out, the whole deck falls down, right? So go to the most denied repressed trauma, because that has created lifetimes of all of the other traumas. And it all starts in the heart with self-betrayal anyway, deep down. So it's, yeah, again, I totally agree. You know, I could see how they could use it, like do 3 times for like a journey of medicine for maybe people that are more conditioned. But like you said, every month and every there. But if he said 25 years and he's been doing it, then yeah, I mean, I don't do it personally. So, but I just know that it's being abused. So I totally agree with you. Like, it's being
I
abused. 100%.
totally agree with you. We
Yeah,
take a
yeah,
lot of things, we learn about them, and ayahuasca is the antithesis of intuition is everything, and it takes you down the rabbit hole of whatever you into it.
yeah,
Whatever you decide you're going to focus on, it takes you down that rabbit hole.
exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah,
if it's positive, you have a beautiful experience. If it's
yeah,
negative and all of your stuff needs to come out, you go right down the rabbit hole to get to that stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you know, wow. But I look at these things and I realize that we have so much that could just bring us inside, but we don't need to look outside of ourselves. We really don't.
No.
You know, yes, we get the knowledge base to be able to, but it truly is all within. And I know that we're coming up on the time that you're going to have to go soon.
Yeah, we
And
got,
so
yeah, 10 minutes.
I hate the fact that we have to even end this conversation because we're
Oh, we
just
got
getting
10 minutes, 10 minutes, we've got 10 minutes, we're good.
yeah.
I can be 5 minutes late from a call.
But you know, that's just the warning that it's coming.
Yeah,
But when you think about your modality and how you step people through it, what would you tell that person that's on the precipice, on the fence, looking one way or the other, that you should just take the leap and then just go with it?
yeah, yeah. So generally, when I'm not convincing people, but if you people on the fence, what I generally do is I'll tune in and I'll tell them something about themselves that they haven't told anyone, or I'll tell them about childhood trauma, or I tell them about someone around them, and they immediately go, "Oh my God, how did you know that?" And that generally brings them in, because they say if he can pick that up, and I've never told anyone that, or he wouldn't know that. Because sometimes they think, "Oh, did he look me up on social media? Does he know a friend?" Like, they're always trying to debunk the
Sure,
person.
sure.
Generally not. That's like 2% ever, but like ever really. But generally, and then they go, because to be honest, if they're talking to me, our souls have met way before we physically connected. So it's all preordained. It's so really it's just getting their human self to it. So generally a psychic message telling them about something, or telling them about a pain that they've had that I wouldn't have known about, then that they go straight away. That opens the gate, you see. And then it's really about getting them to, I find when we go in the first module, it's interesting because people are a little bit reticent, as they would be. But as soon as they do the practical work with their one-on-ones, their energy changes, because they read someone and they go, "How the hell did I just pick that up?" I said, "Well, because you're already psychic, you're already powerful." And it starts to come in very, very quickly. And I think that that's the building process. But then what happens is it's that whole, they have to get over their minds, the minds and the story and the belief system. That's the hardest thing. It's getting people to believe that they're not who they think they are. So
Yeah,
you are not your story. You're definitely not flesh and blood, that's for sure.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So
So, you have any tips for anyone out there that you would like to share as just like the last thoughts of this conversation as we, you know, come to the point where we're closing it?
yeah, yeah. And it's a good one. And a few people ask me that, and I'll just say, because a lot of people believe deep down that they can't actually help the planet, they can't help other people, because I'm just this, I'm just that, I just work in a supermarket, whatever. COVID was a reset. People stayed at home, but the higher aspect of that was to ground people, to bring them into the present moment. That was the
Mm,
gift from the light. Yes, and also work out their issues with their loved ones, because relationships are the greatest teachers. If you're in a relationship, you have the most profound ability to heal yourself because they will mirror everything that you need to see. And that's what happened. And I know loads of people that got divorced moved on because they were staying in the relationship for the wrong reasons or whatever. It doesn't matter. But also people grew spiritually. So that was the reset. So what I say to people is, you can change everything by sitting at home. You're most powerful when you're present at home because you don't have the distraction. If you work on yourself through self-inquiry, your cellular information will change. Your vibration will change. That feeds into human collective consciousness. So every time you work on yourself, you're healing the whole planet. But more importantly, when you walk out the door and you go to the supermarket, you go to the restaurant, if the person sitting next to you walk past wants to awaken as well, your cells will talk to their cells. They will pass on information. And then the next day, a week later, they go, do you know what? I need to go and get this. I need to do some healing, or I need to look a bit deeper into why this is happening. Or do you know what? I want to go and do a healing course or get some therapy. And that is the catalyst because the information has awakened them. So everyone at home, doesn't matter who you are, what you have the ability to help everyone, because deep down, we know we need to assist the planet now. Every soul knows it. We need to assist ourselves. And so the self-inquiry process is the most important time. Now, we've got up till the end of next year, which is what, 2025. We're in a 3-year window. We're currently halfway through it, exactly halfway through it because it's July. And that is time. Look, you can still do the work after that, but this now, the gates are open for self-inquiry. So if you work on yourself, you are going to shift so much faster in this time frame. So now is self-inquiry. That's the most important thing. And you will assist everyone, you'll help everyone around you. And that's the most important part. It's we're all coming back to collective consciousness. So we're all feeding into each other. So yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Do the work and create the ripple effect.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah, brilliant.
Do the work. And before we close, do you have any messages that you want to share? Do you have any messages from Spirit that you want to share? Do I put you on the spot at the last minute or?
Yeah, let me just tune in. Hang on. They're probably going to say what I just said anyway, but let's ask. No, I'll say something. They give me the same thread of information in very different tongues sometimes because they just want to get people awake, really. But let's have a look.
Yeah.
No, I've got so many different challenges on different topics. They do give me a plethora of information, which is lovely. So look. They're talking about the vagus nerve, which is the cranial nerve 10, which actually innervates all the organs. They're saying that the throat chakra in most human beings is blocked. I've got a lot of channelings on the throat chakra. There's a lot about my book, actually, because it's where we hold resistance and denial to the soul. And they're saying that the vagus nerve has a sort of low-grade frequency around it. Now, this is interesting. I'm going to have to channel this now. This is obviously going to be my next piece of work. So I'm glad you said that, the way you asked me. So let's just see what the message is here, just to simplify this. But I will channel this and get more of a message, and I could share it later.
Okay.
They're saying that this is imprinting the meridian lining, and it's holding people's vibrational tone too much in the shadow of three-dimensional reality. Now, I know I'm speaking a bit out there at the moment, and I will channel this and simplify the message, and I will, like I said, I'll share it. But they're saying that let's give your viewers something. Breathing through the throat chakra and breathing through the sacral chakra, so belly and throat. If you keep a loop of breath and do it for 5 to 10 minutes a day, so maybe do 3 or 4 minutes one way and then 3 or 4 minutes the other way. So in through the throat, out through the belly, then vice versa, in through the belly, out through the throat, with the intention set to release the vibrational hold around the vagus nerve. What's going to happen is the current of frequency will move through the body more uninterrupted. Because what's actually happening now is why people are getting sick and blowing out the chakras, the immune system, edema, nervous system issues, headaches, is because when divine current comes into the body, if your emotional body is clogged, it will blow things out, because it's meant to move through into the earth. We're meant to be conduits. Yeah. So what they're saying is if you do this breath work, it's going to allow your old attachment to the older frequencies to start to let go, because we're in that vibrational hole. This is what this next 18 months is about. It's about detaching. So the cells, the atoms, and everything we were talking about has space and freedom to start moving into the new vibration. So this is very interesting. The vagus nerve is the one that pinches in babies. This is what causes colic, reflux, because a natural birth, when the head twists, that's the breath of life through the birth canal, right? But what happens when the neck twists, it pinches that nerve. And that's why they get stomach. That's why they get bloating. So the vagus nerve is very, very important nerve. I think it's cranial nerve 10. Yeah, one of the 10. Yeah, 10. So viewers have a look at that, because anatomically it's very interesting what it innervates. But this is the energy imprint. So it's very. I'm going to do a channeling on this. I'm getting told to do a channeling, but this is very, very good. So this breath work I'm saying will allow that heaviness to sort of expand, and then the current can move through the body, and people will feel relaxed. They'll feel like this tension,
Maybe that,
and
because a
they'll
lot
feel
of
the
people are
expansion.
going through a lot right now. They're complaining about not being able to sleep, not being able, having headaches, emotional releases constantly happening and not being able to relax that
Yeah,
emotional release. So here's my commitment to the audience. If you do that, when you do that
yeah,
channeling, I
yeah.
will be happy to embed that link in the description for this YouTube, for this
Okay.
particular episode, so that
Yeah.
they can hear the details of that channeling. Would
Yeah,
be
absolutely. Happy to
absolutely
do that. And I'll get that done soon. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, Paul, thank you for joining me on The Infinite Way, where spirituality meets humanity. It's been another wonderful episode. If you like this episode, please share it. Please like us, and somebody out there needs to hear this information. So we hope that you'll join us back. I want to say thank you again, Paul, for joining us, and hope you enjoyed your time with us.
Absolutely. Always, always. Thank you so much, Anola. It's great to be a guest. Thank you.
And thank you. And so this has been another episode of The Infinite Way. We'll see you soon. Take care for now. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.